So today I wanted to show you all this demonstration of how to create a fashion illustration with watercolor pencils. So I have my kneaded eraser, and you can get these on Amazon. I got these like three for $3.99. And I also have my color pencil set. So this is actually a set that is in this Prismacolor mixed media color set. So I found this at Michael's, but it might be on Amazon as well. Then I have my illustration that is on watercolor paper. And you can also find watercolor paper through Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or any art store or Amazon. So I have my illustration. And so what we are going to do next is we are going to basically erase all of it, almost all of it, but you're still going to see the illustration. The reason why we're going to erase it is because it's going to be easier for you to like really add the colors on there and really make it pop. Okay, so as you can see, we just opened our kneaded eraser, and the reason why I like this is because you can kind of pull it like gum, but it's easy for you to erase with it. So we are going to kind of play with it just to soften it up like so. And then basically going to erase all of this. Now you don't want to have it to where it's just like nothing on the paper, but we're gonna basically get this off. And what you can also do, if you don't want to just erase it back and forth, you can kind of blot it like so. Okay, so now that we have basically blotted just about everything off. So like I said, you are still going to kind of see some marks. You want to see that. You don't want to get everything off. So we are going to start using our watercolor brushes, well, paint brushes, and then we are going to use our watercolor pencil. So I have a ton of brushes because of course I use these to paint with acrylic as well as watercolor. So we are going to start with this round tip brush. We're going to dip it in water. So you have two ways to use watercolor pencils. You can start with water first. This is option one. So you can start with that, and then take your, this is dark umber watercolor pencil, and if you see, once you color with it, it's going to easily spread, so you can paint over it, and it's basically going to spread. you can continue to color. And it's good with these, if you want to do it this way, it is good to wet it first, then color, and then go back on top of it and wet it again. So therefore, it will easily spread. Now, like I said, this is option 1, or you could do option 2 and color with it first. To get your values. And then you can go back over it with water. Now with this, you have to be very careful and you don't want this to spread on other parts of the paper. There is no wrong way to do this. I'm just giving you different options. I personally like this way better, because therefore if you needed to add more color for your values, you can do so. Also, make sure to stay in your lines. And then you want to kind of wait until it dries a little bit, and you can still kind of go over it with the color pencil. This is if you want to build more value in it. Also, if you are using these, I always say that it's also kind of a good idea to have a hair dryer with you. And the reason why is because instead of just letting it dry naturally, you'll still have a way to go over it. Like just dry it and then go back over the values. So while we are letting this part down here dry, we can go ahead and continue up here. I have added more color up here, and like I said, you want to stay as close to the lines as you possibly can. And the reason why I am doing it this way is to build a value. And I'm adding more color here. And high values. So if you go to the, well, we can't go anywhere right now due to this coronavirus pandemic, but if you look online, you'll see that there are different brushes for like watercolor, for acrylics, for oil paints. It just depends on what type of brush you get. And then I want to add some more color here. And the reason why I like the watercolor pencil so is because, like I said, you have room to just color. It's just like using color pencils, but you just have the option to put water over them, and the colors will spread. So just to let you all know, like the paint will kind of run away, but you don't want to add too much water to this either. But even if you do, you can just let it dry naturally. So we're going to add value up here. And up here. And possibly up here. And just like with regular color pencils or with markers, you have to have a light source. Somewhere you have to add value, you have to add shadows, so you're going to have to do all of that with watercolor pencils too. And then also, as you can see, it kind of goes down a little bit. So you could just sharpen them. More value here, and we're going to try to get this to where you see shadows and highlights. So it's kind of working out quite nicely. Only thing that I hate is that I messed up in here because the water kind of did its own thing, and like I said, that will happen. So I'm starting with the skin color first. And then after we do the skin color, then we are going to work on the dress and the shoes and the makeup and all of that. So now I am working on the other leg. I'm going to go ahead and add color down here for my feet. So you can go ahead and start just adding colors to those spots. And therefore you can use the color pencils, or you can use your brush. Just go ahead and just add those in. I'm leaving the face for last because, as you can see, it's going to be a lot of details for the face. So, and I just got all the excess water off. And I'm just being really careful. And adding water in for my shadows and highlights. And I really don't want you all to try to overthink this. Just have fun with it. It's the reason for this project, is to have fun with a new medium. So now for this other leg, we're gonna go ahead, blend in the colors. And I didn't put much water on here because I'm trying to keep this I'm trying to add in those little dark spots for what I know is going to be my shadows, and I already know I'm going to have to go back in on this side. So what I can do is probably add some on this side too. And I can add more color down here. And then once I have my shadows in, I can add more water. For my highlights. Because I know that the light is going to be touching over here. This is going to be my light source. So this little middle part, I'm going to try to blend this in. And now we are going to start down here on the feet. Let me repeat myself. It is no right or wrong way to do this. Do what is comfortable for you. I just want you to have fun with this project. And as you can see, if you can really take a look at this, you see that I have kind of made my shadows and my highlights. Of the skin, just with this color pencil. And like I said, once it dries, you can go back and add more. That's one of the things that I really like about watercolor, is that you can go back and add on top of it. You can add more water. If you mess up, it's okay. Just add more water. Just don't go too overboard, because you don't want to drench your paper or do anything to where you mess up what you're trying to do. But just water. Water is our friend, especially with this. And then if you want to take away some of the color, you could just add more water in and just paint with just water to make those spots lighter. As you can see, because I just did it right here, I'm trying to do it on the side of this leg, but it's really not doing what I want it to do. Okay, now I am going to say that this face might be a little tricky for me. So I'm going to try to be as careful as possible on it, because there are some things on here that I do not want to mess up. So using the tip of this brush, I'm just going to play with the shadows in here. I have already added color into what is going to be my shadows. And I'm leaving some parts light, or I'm not going to